Have you seen Quezon the movie? A film about a president who opened our shores to the Israeli refugees where other countries closed for fear of the Nazis. This is one of the reasons why we Filipinos are highly respected by the people of Israel. This is the same guy who able to create a first global metropolis in Asia that is now known as Quezon City. And this is the leader who died for our real independence from any foreign power. A leader who chose compassion over comfort and humility over politics. And yet, if you notice in the film, they never focus on his achievement. They focus on his flaws, his doubts, his quest for power. Because somehow, that's what we find entertaining. We rarely celebrate our leaders to do right, but we forget them easily when they do wrong, as if mistake erase a lifetime of service, and maybe that is why no president from Aguinaldo to Marcos Jr. have ever been universally loved. Because the moment someone leads, we stop seeing their humanity and start counting their records. Welcome to Regress Buddy, where we talk about the law, not just about the statute, but the stories and people. I'm Canteen, and today we're going to talk about leadership, the kind that tests the law and the heart. Now, getting back to the case of Quezon. Quezon is a classic case of paradox in governance. While the law demands authority to preserve order in one hand, democracy on the other demands the right to oppose to preserve freedom. And somewhere between the two lies a fragile balance to keep a nation alive. Our Constitution was not written to make leadership easy. It was created to make it accountable. Power is divided into three branches, not to weaken government, but to keep it legitimate. That is why every public office is a public trust. The Constitution says sovereignty resides in the people, and all government authority emanates from them. Beautiful words, but they create tension. So how do we exercise sovereignty responsibly? Does democracy mean endless criticism? Or does the respect for process means following even we disagree? Recently, in the case of Sara Duterte versus House of Representatives, the court examined the one-year bar rule on impeachment was being bypassed for political convenience. The court reminded us that even the House must follow constitutional boundaries. For the rule of law must rise above political will. Opposition must be grounded in reason, not resentment. In the case of Araullo versus Aquino, the palace justifies the disbursement acceleration program as a good faith effort to boost the economy. But the court said no. Not even the noble intention could justify unconstitutional means. Leadership must stay within the law. Now, real talk. The same tension exists everywhere. In our classrooms, in our organization, even in our own family. When someone leads, others will question. When structure is applied, some feel restricted. When things goes wrong, we quick to blame the one in charge. We focus on mistakes because they're easier to remember. But there's no such thing as leadership without imperfection. Only courage can sustain changes or growth despite its flaws. That's what inspired this legal research proposal. We explored the Constitution as it defines the boundaries between leadership and accountability. Here, we will be guided by three thought-provoking questions. First, where does legitimate leadership ends and abuse of discretion begins? Second, how does the Constitution protect both authority and the right to oppose without destroying either? Lastly, how jurisprudence can guide ethical leadership for future lawyers and public servants. Our problem isn't the absence of leadership. It is our obsession with tearing leadership down. We romanticize criticism more than courage. We remember their failures longer than their contribution. We treat good deeds as expected and the mistakes as unforgivable. Leadership is never about control. It's about taking responsibility. So, why is no leaders universally loved? Because leadership was never meant to please. It was meant to preserve order, to stand firm between chaos and conscience. The Latin phrase Memento Mori reminds us that all of us will one day fade. As General Douglas MacArthur once said, old soldiers never die. They just fade away. Yet, even as we fade, it is the life we live and the choices we make added to the total integrity we uphold. That is what will become the history which will truly endure. As future lawyers, let us be reminded that justice is not measured by the arguments we won, but the fairness we live. It is practiced not only in courts, but in how we govern, decide, and serve. When the noise finally fades, what will remain is how we truly and carefully carried out the mission entrusted to us by God. If this talk made you reflect on law, leadership, and conscience, then follow us, because here at Legres Buddy, we study the law together, because every case, every provision is a life story we can all relate to. God bless, and see you in the next episode of Legres Buddy.